Well, at QuakeCon 2012, for those of you who are here, I assume you know that the other day we announced a reboot of Rise of the Triad, the Apogee classic from 1994-95. The response has been amazing. You know, we were expecting something, but we really weren't expecting this. So we decided to, for you guys who are the hardcore fans, to put together a panel to really show you how we're bringing this thing back and why this is the reboot that Rot deserves. So without further ado, let's get going. You've probably seen some of these screens, they've been out. You know, game obviously it's fully licensed Unreal 3 and everything's back, you know. As you can see, that's some stuff from level 2. And the Excalibur is, you know, we saved it for the end of the trailer, but we've been showing it off a lot ever since. It's playable on the floor. It's been redesigned, but let me tell you who we got here. Myself, I'm the marketing director on this thing. My name's Dave. We've got Schreiber, the CEO of Interceptor, all the way from Denmark. Terry Nagy, the head of Apogee Software, the one and only Apogee Software. Martin, one of our level designers. And Andrew, our composer, who remade all the original tracks into heavy fucking metal.
Fuck yeah.
Who is Interceptor Entertainment? AAA game development studio based in Denmark. They formed in 2010 for Duke Nukem 3D Reloaded, which you might have heard some buzz about. It was the Unreal 3 remake of Duke 3D that got greenlit by Gearbox and then subsequently ungreenlit by Gearbox. Apogee picked them up, liked what they saw, and said, hey, Rise of the Triad is available. How about doing that instead? And 6 months later, here we are, on the floor, playable and out and open to the public. Our guys are spread all over the world, and you know, we're a virtual team. And you know, we like the freedom about it. And Fred, you know, he's more than happy to have people fly in and work at the office in Denmark, which they're setting up. But you know, we love the creative freedom of people who can work at home and just get in Skype meetings and be self-motivated, because that's a big part of the reason why we're already so far along in 5 months. But I'll let Fred talk about Interceptor a little more before we get to Apogee.
Yeah, my name is Frederik. Yeah, first of all, we started Interceptor, let me just get this up a bit. We started Interceptor we started the company officially in January 2012, actually to work on Rise of the Triad. As you might know, the Duke Nukem Reloaded story is put on hold so far, and actually we had an internal list of games we absolutely wanted to do sooner or later. All of our employees are hardcore Apogee 3D Realm id Software fans, but there are games that you simply can't remake without a license. One of those was of course also Rise of the Triad. We were so lucky to get a non-commercial license to Duke. And then Terry Nagy contacted us, and he offered us a license. So you know, we were all on board. We were all hardcore Rot fans. So it's just natural for us to be working on something like this. And you know, we have people on board that has even made mods for the original, even very popular mods of the original are on board on this project. So we have the community behind us as well. Interceptor is very unique. We encourage people to work from home. It's a 100% virtual team, which means that we meet once every couple of months to crunch away for milestones. Otherwise, we pretty much all work from home.
They haven't flown me to Copenhagen yet.
We haven't flown him to Copenhagen yet. The great thing about that is that the team members we get on board are so self-motivated. We don't have any team members on board who are not hardcore Rot fans and are not working on this project unless they work on this project because they can't not work on it.
They have to have beaten Rot 95 in order to be on the development team, and that is not a joke.
Exactly. And these guys are, they are insanely talented. The great thing about working from home and having so many people from all over the world is that we can pretty much pick the talent that is perfect for this project, and that's what we have done. So yeah, we're very excited to be here at QuakeCon. The brief story is that after the whole Reloaded thing, Terry Nagy from Apogee approached us, and we made a great deal with him about the IP, and then Dave came on board, and he said, you know what, I'll put some funds into it, and serve as marketing director for this. He has a lot of marketing experience, so he's a great guy to have on board, and then we are making the game, and it's awesome. The entire team has so many roles. Me myself, I'm both CEO level designer, audio guy, PR dude. We have guys that even our forum system administrator has done some trees in the game. And we have all of our professional team members teaching non-professional team members to be professional at those things that matters in this game. So it's all a big team effort to make this look as a AAA game at a very good price point. So we're very happy with it.
And what Fred's saying also is that everybody has a say in Interceptor. It's not just like the guys up here who get to say what goes on. If we have an idea or somebody has an asset or a design idea, we throw it out to the team and get immediate feedback. That's one of the great things about having a virtual team is, one of the things we argued about was, okay, the original game was the first game to have a missile cam, but it was a cheat. How do we implement a missile cam in a 2012 game? Well, let's stick an actual camera on the heat seeker. But how do we do that? Does it flip out? No, it's taking up too much screen real estate. We didn't know what to do. And then somebody came into the Skype chat and said, well, what if you could just flip the screen in and out on the heat seeker? I said, yeah, that works. And that's how we designed it. It's virtual meeting rooms. It's not one person or a group of people deciding. It's the entire company. And Fred loves that the team has that freedom and that they're all that motivated. But we couldn't do this, of course, without Apogee software, and I think you all remember that logo pretty well. If you're at QuakeCon and you don't know that logo, you probably shouldn't be at QuakeCon. Apogee published Wolfenstein 3D, Duke Nukem, Rise of the Triad, a couple of games you might have heard of in the 90s. But who is Apogee? A privately held Texas company with a core team. They build franchises around original IP, and their amazing history includes games you've heard of. But you should hear it from the man himself, the head of Apogee Software, Terry Nagy. Terry, if you could talk a bit about, why Interceptor and why now?
All right, good. Thank you very much, Dave. Basically, in 2007, I went ahead and licensed the Apogee name and trademarks and everything from the 3D Realms crew. And I also acquired the Rise of the Triad IP. And I've just been really kind of sitting on it for a while until we found the right developer to take action with it.
How dare you?
Exactly. So when I was following the Reloaded project with Fred and the Interceptor crew, I was really liking what I was seeing. And when I saw that the project was magically put on hold, I thought, okay, here we go. So I immediately called Fred. I actually didn't call him. I sent him an invite on Facebook, and
modern day.
Within 5 minutes, he's responding to me saying, "What's up?" And I said, "Hey, you willing to sign an NDA?" And he's like, "Absolutely." So within 5 minutes, we're actually on Skype talking, and I'm saying, "Hey, I got an IP for you, buddy. Are you ready to sign on board?" And he was like, "Yes." So we hooked up together, and we started looking at how we wanted to do this, and it was absolutely crucial for the development team to have total freedom of creativity. And that's what I wanted them to have. I wanted to see what they could do, and they were demonstrating what they could do with Reloaded, and so I really didn't have too much worry about that, but I figured I would stay out of their way. And with them, I would only step in if I felt that the IP wasn't being represented in the proper way. And I've only had to do that a couple of times, and I've voiced my opinion regarding the missile cam for the heat seeker, and Dave's already covered that. But the only other really time I've really stepped in was for the flame wall. Mm-hmm. And a couple weeks ago, it was very lackluster. And I basically said, hey, look, unless we can present the flame wall in a way that is representative of the classic IP, everyone will hate it. And he's like, oh no, we just can't do it. We can't do it. And I was like,
and a lot of us thought it was okay as is. And we were like, Terry's just delay. And then we got it working like that. And we were like, oh, Terry was so right.
Yeah, and everyone's just commenting so much on the floor in multiplayer mode how badass that weapon is, and they just love it. So I'm really thrilled about Frederik and the Interceptor and how they've conducted their business in developing this game so far. I mean, the playable on the floor, they cranked it out in 1 month. That's pretty amazing for QuakeCon because, you know, Dave and I had talked about presenting here at QuakeCon, and Dave immediately jumped on the phone with Todd, and Ed's response was immediately, yes, do it. We want you here.
Yeah, and you know, they could have said no. You know, when I called Todd about this thing, you know, 6 or so months ago when we got started, I had no idea what he was going to say. We knew that there was no other place but QuakeCon to bring a game like Rise of the Triad, you know, given the history between Apogee and id, and given the kind of game this is and the kind of audience, you know, if we took this thing to like E3 or PAX, people would be like 5 people would be like, oh, I remember Rise of the Triad, yeah, that was that game. You bring it to a place like QuakeCon and people either go, or they go, holy shit, Rise of the Triad? Like with the drunk missiles and the shrooms mode? Yeah, that one. And we brought it back, and the response has been crazy, and id has been behind us all the way, and we got to thank Todd and the guys so much, and ZeniMax and Bethesda as well, because you can't do it without them these days, you know, and they've been so cool getting us on the schedule, getting us on the floor, letting us do a panel and all that, so it's just awesome that they let us bring it back the right way, and we're pleased as hell about it.
Well, I won't go too much further on with this because we know we want to get back into the panel and discussion and the comparison
Show you some game.
Yeah, between 95 and 2012, so I'll go ahead and turn it back over to Dave.
Yeah, all right, so level design. People are asking, is this a one-to-one remake? Is this, you know, is this a total recreation? And Fred Martin can actually tell you about how we're designing levels today. What we did is we took, you know, the levels from the original game, looked at them top down, and found out what worked and what didn't. You know, back then there was no such thing as a critical path. They didn't have heat mapping back then. You couldn't tell what really worked. But we're not going to do this. As you can see, you've probably all seen this picture. That's E1, M1 from Doom on the left. And on the right, that's like Call of Duty 6, 7, 8, 9 or something. It's just a straight line with lots of cutscenes. This is what our maps look like in 2012. As you can see, it's extremely old school level design. You know, we've still got colored keys and doors, we've still got jump pads and secret areas running back and forth. I mean, a lot of people say they want to do old school level design, but they don't. They don't do it. They're afraid. And people keep asking for it, and we're doing it. Fuck it, you know, because people want it. And the people who don't get it, either don't get it, or fuck them. Because this is what we're all about, you know, an old school level design with a new school flow. So I'm going to let Fred talk about that a bit, and him and Martin can tell you about just how we managed to, you know, take old school level design and convert that into 2012 gameplay.
Yeah, first of all, the primary issue we had with the old school level design, and the issue that most modern developers have when they say they want to do old school level design but doesn't really do it, is because if you really want to go old school, you have to eliminate a core audience of new school gamers. If you are introducing a new IP and you try to go old school, you will most likely eliminate the crowd that plays Call of Duty and that is used to this highly cinematic experience and doesn't really value what was great about old school gaming. We are kind of a rebellious team here. We, looking back at the original Rise of the Triad team, they actually tried to invent a new rating system because they just didn't care what the people thought, and they actually got the rating ludicrous. We have kind of the same mindset about this game. The way we do our levels in this game is that, first of all, you can take the old levels and do the same again. Mostly because that will only appeal to the very hardcore ROD fans. And, you know, we would sell 10,000 copies, that would be it. What we have done is that our level designers have researched deeply into every single level of the game. They have picked out all the elements that made the old levels stand out and made them unique, while implementing things that improves them. Back then you didn't have heat mapping tools. You couldn't analyze your levels on how the players would play them. The level designers could simply try and make a level they thought would be fun and then go on to the next level. And when the game was done, you know, it was a hit or miss. In this game, we have all the tools required and we have all the professional level designers here to actually go in and analyze, okay, what didn't work and what did work of the original. And we think we got a perfect mix of old school and new school level design. I would like to let Martin talk about one of the levels he recently did and you know, what he decided to change and add in order to make the level old school and you know, in this fast-paced environment where you rocket jump to get to secret areas and stuff like that, while while keeping it you know, in tune with new school gamers.
People are going to have to learn how to rocket jump all over again, or for the first time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so basically what I went through when I started designing the level, like the layout that we had up there, like right before, that was basically one of my levels.
This is E1 L3?
L4, I think,
L4.
Yeah.
Spring Surprise.
So, yeah, Spring Surprise. So, many people will probably like remember like a few key elements of this map as being like, yeah, central to the map. And I kind of wanted to get like the old feel from that game, from the original game, by simply like having those areas. Not necessarily in the same order, because like above all, I've been focused on game flow, like how the flow of the levels work. But I still wanted people to go ahead and say, oh yeah, I remember this. I remember how this worked and all that, in a more simplified, better version, basically, like an upgraded version.
Old school design with a new school flow. We want it to be a game that the old Rot fans can remember, but new school gamers who don't remember it, they can still jump in. They may have no idea. They may just see it on the front page of Steam and go, oh, that looks bloody and cool, and I can afford that. And they play it, and they go, all right, this is still pick up and play. It feels kind of like games I haven't played before. It's super fast, but I can play this. It doesn't, it's not going to put them off. We're proud of that, and I think we've got a really good blend of what made the old maps great and what makes our maps better. As you can see, we've got great critical pathing here, but we've got all the unique stuff. So I think in order to actually show you how similar it is, I'm going to boot up Rot 95, and then we're going to have Fred boot up Rot 2012.
Yeah, and we want to take you through the, there were two primary memorable levels of Rise of the Triad that everyone remembers. Half of the crowd probably remembers the first level of The Hunt Begins, because that was the shareware version that most of the gamers out there played. And the other one is the first level of The Dark War, which is the regular version. That's the level we're going to show here. So it will most likely be memorable for most of you guys. So yeah, let's go for it.
Nostalgia! Oh, I love this game. And all these 5 characters are back, by the way. Tardino, Ty, Doug, Lorelei, and my favorite, IP Freely. Same crazy difficulties. As you remember, all the difficulties were different every time you logged in. I have pet names for my grenades. Same story, we're going back to San Nicolas. Okay, I gotta remember how to play Rot, hang on. I'm playing Rise of the Triad in front of a panel at QuakeCon 2012. This is fucking awesome.
Can we try going back a bit? Can we try going back a bit?
Sure.
To the beginning of the level. Yes, at the very start of the level. Okay, what you might see here is that we have a gate behind the player, and just behind him, the very first thing he sees in the level, try turning around. Yeah, the very first thing you see in this first level is pretty much a secret area you need to get to through a touch plate. Yeah, and if you pay attention to how the level is built, the first few minutes you will go through it here, and then try to keep that in mind while looking at the new version we did.
Yeah, now I'm gonna, and over here, see there's a priest porridge over here. Get a feel for this level. You guys probably remember E1, L1 of Rise of the Triad. And the touch plate's right here. That opens up there. And there's the bazooka. Now that's just the first area of the game, right? Now how do you recreate this in 2012, without these 90-degree walls? How do you make it modern? Fred?
Yeah. So I'm gonna show this. I'm gonna show this exact same area from our first level, so you can see how we remade this.
Now remember what you just saw. Pictures in your head.
Remember what you just heard too.
Oh yeah, because the music is. We got the same songs. It's just. We went a little harder this time around.
The Hunt team is back in action.
So yeah, as you can see here, the first area is pretty much the same. We have a door behind the player here, and over here we have the same area. So yeah, let me first of all show you another secret that they didn't show you, but that you'll most likely also remember by going back into this area right here.
Whoa, that was easy to find.
We placed some weapons around here for testing purposes that you obviously wouldn't find in that area, and the Excalibur is not there usually.
Traps are back in the same place, same old school traps.
All right,
That is a Matrix dual pistol reload, yes.
Matrix dual pistol.
Can you hit R again one more time?
Yes.
I love that.
All right, so this very first area, let me just show you how to get this secret. And
so remember what we just saw. Go around to the right, like see. I think if we have Priest Porridge in the exact same place. And now around to the right. And if you see up.
Okay, let me just put on God mode for you guys.
You can't die during the battle.
That was beautiful.
The Hunt team is back in action. Whoa, that was fine.
Well, he wants dual pistols.
Yeah. And I want the MP40 as well. There.
Yeah, go up around to the right so we can see where it's exactly the same. We have full dismemberment. We are banned in Germany and Australia.
So yeah, you have the same
it's in the exact same place as it was, and the touch plate. Now we remember where the bazooka's back there, so we have to hit the same touch plate again. It's in the exact same spot, except now it's not a giant 90-degree push wall; it's a door. But the bazooka's in the same place. All right, now let's go back to 95 again. And as you can see, it's the same level, just updated for 2012. We actually, it went from, a big brown thing, which it's kind of nondescript. I'm not sure what that is, to, it's a Triad base. All right, now we're back here. All right, now see, he was just here and here, got the bazooka. I'm not in God mode, by the way. I don't have a problem with dying. Okay, now, what do you think? All right, now get a good look at this. This is, another iconic part of U1M1. Walk around, see there's gags that go up and down. Nothing in fire. Sorry about that. And that's, kind of a bunker of sorts. Under there there's a trap. And a secret.
Yeah, you probably should have done God mode all day.
I am not doing God mode. And up here, there's like a little place you can get armor and stuff. There you go. So get a good look at this. Bunker, stairs up to the left, secret under there that leads to a door over here. So how do we do something big and crazy like this and they turn it into a 2012 first-person shooter? I just love the menu music. Wait till you hear like the we've got and just wait. Alright, now show them what it looks like today.
Alright, so here we have the same door that he went into, of course updated with a lot of cool things. So let me just go in here and blast some things away.
Remember, we are still very early, there is barely any AI, the guys are just going to run at you like really stupidly. Now remember on the left side, that secret?
Oh yeah.
It's now a lever. And open up the secret in the exact same place, except now it's, it actually kind of makes sense, this little secret trap, and we've still got all the coins.
Let me just go into depth a bit about our coin system.
Sure. Since the
original game had points in it, but that was pretty much something you were used to putting into first-person shooters. We did, after all, only have a few. Wolfenstein 3D had
points in the game and you could get high scores, but no one really played the game for that purpose. That was something they brought over from arcade games. You know, they didn't really know better since the genre was so new. They did the same thing in Rise of the Triad, but it didn't get moved over to the later games like Duke Nukem 3D, for example. We wanted to keep the points in the game, but instead of doing the same thing, we decided to build the entire game around points and what we call competitive single player. So what we decided to do in the game is that every time you hit an enemy with a bullet, you get a point, and every time you kill an enemy, you get points, and you can build up killing streaks and multipliers. You know, according to which part you hit off an enemy, you get different points, and according to which weapons you use, you get different points. If you find secrets, you get points. You get points by collecting coins. So pretty much everything in the game gives you points. And also, if you finish a level very fast, if you speed run through a level and rocket jump or over different obstacles, you get a lot of points for speed running through. So we encourage different play styles. The cool thing with this is that mixed in with all of our different player characters, which all have different characteristics. Some run faster and have less hit points. Some have a lot of hit points but run slower, and some are more accurate and can jump higher. Mixed all this together, you have a very fast-paced single-player experience that feels a bit like Quake 3 Arena, but a single-player game with a lot of cool different episodes, and a lot of locations, and a lot of insanely difficult levels where you don't have to think to solve puzzles, you have to have the skills.
Show them a bit of, I'm sorry, you go.
Yeah.
Show them a bit more around the bunker and what it looks like now, because we didn't really get a good view of what, it's the same square structure, same gads on the sides.
And look at the score up here when I shoot this enemy. And you can see I get a point for each kill I do. The complete percentage you can see up here is how much you have completed this level. It has nothing to do with achievements. This has something to do with if you kill every enemy in this level, you find every single coin, and you find every single secret area, you get 100% complete. For getting 100% complete, you get an achievement. So we have an entire achievement system next to the entire point system. And every time you finish a level, you can then post your points on the global leaderboard and then compare it with your friends.
Yeah, we're hosting our own global leaderboard and stat tracking system. So as soon as you finish a level, whoosh, a whole list comes up of all your... Because we're working, it's a Steamworks game, so all your friends on Steam will be listed, plus you can go global, US, and just see where you are. It's like, fuck, I gotta play the level again. But yeah, now so instead of it just being, a place up there, we actually put, a little guardhouse up there, and some base, and some radios, some stuff on the TV. We're trying to make it make a bit more sense. This is, it's a Triad base.
One cool thing we did here is that we really wanted to flesh out the universe. There is really no documentation on why the guys decided to call these the GADs, other than it was gravitational anomaly disks.
Gravitational anomaly disks,
exactly.
Or floaty things.
What we decided to do is we actually got an electrical engineer to write down blueprints on how these things would work in real life. So we placed those around the map to look like, these guys really have some technology behind this, and they are not just there because back then they couldn't put things above each other, they had to fake it by doing stuff like this. So yeah, as you can see, this is pretty much the same area. It has the same jump pad in front of it, and if you want to speed run through it, you can do it this way instead.
And off to the left there, remember where the armor was? The stairs up to the left? Now it's a little, it's just a little base with a guard who was sleeping for some reason. He's got a mattress in there. Like lazy triads. And if you look closely at the walls, we've got some Easter eggs scattered around throughout the place. But yeah, let's jump back into Route 95 and show you the next and final area of E1M, what we're going to show you real quick. Hey, we're not going to eat secret. I'm not cheating or anything. Alright, now this you may remember is where you get... Okay, these guys are toast. Where you get the God Hand. Now how do we create something, a room like this with crazy spinning traps and bullets actually bounce off those, if you remember. Giant 90-degree push walls. I'm not going to get God mode yet. how do we recreate something like this? Is ridiculous. It makes no sense in a game. If we did something like that today, I'd be like, I know those guys died. So how do we recreate that and end up looking at God Hand in 2012? Okay, real quick. Yeah, you guys remember that. Okay, let's see how we do that today. There is no God mode in 2012 yet. We're not implemented, but it will be there. Now, how do we get, a crazy trap room like that with jump pads going, today and make it look like it makes sense?
I just cheated a bit as well.
Now you got a flame wall too?
And picked up some weapons
Now you remember what the flame wall worked like and what I just showed you, right? Fred, show them what it works like.
Hey, buddy.
It's a little bit overpowered. And as you see, they still explode and turn into skeletons, just like in 1995. See, now what we have it for the multiplayers is there's actually a 3-second delay between when you get hit with the flame wall and when you explode. So if you run into somebody else in that 3 seconds, they'll explode with you.
Let me just go back and pick up another weapon so you can check that out while I go back to that area they just showed off.
Pick up the Excalibur. I think everybody wants to see the Excalibur in action. We've set the push force for now to like 1,000%, so you can actually knock people off the map with the bat. And it's so funny, they're getting like stuck in trees, and it's just ridiculous. Okay, now here we are with what it looks like in 2012.
So yeah, this is actually the same area as you saw before, but we did a few adjustments to it.
We have a scripted event there
here, and a small stone getting...
Those traps almost look like they make sense now. I mean, they're ridiculous, but yeah, that looks like a thing. And there it is.
So yeah,
there's the God Hand in 2012.
Here is the place for the God Hand, but what we did with the level as well was that we added a few things that made it more vertical than the previous place in this level. So we actually have an area up here. Before you had to touch a plate with the God Hand in order to open this door. What we did is that we made a separate area to flesh the levels out a bit more, and this really shows how the original levels, how the new levels are improved upon the originals. So we have more verticality in here. So we have a small guard area in here.
Show them what's on the wall real quick.
A small reference to Duke Nukem Reloaded. And if you're reading this, you score.
Wait, Fred, look up and to the left really quick. Ah, I trolled you all.
Yeah, and there's actually a secret area here as well as in the original, which you can gain access to by using this jump pad and getting over here.
That one's, that's one of the ones you wouldn't find normally unless you look up and to the right and say, it looks like I can get there. We're not holding anybody's hand with secrets, so there's not going to be a giant arrow that's just like, get back to the map. It's just, if you see a secret, there's probably a secret there, but you can run through it fast and not go to any secrets. But there are coins in there if you find the secret, so if you want that high score, you gotta be fast and you gotta find all the secrets.
Okay, let me just show off the Excalibur here and kill.
That's the alt fire mode for the Excalibur. All of our weapons have fire. It shoots baseballs. Ludicrous jibs, just like in 1995. All right, so let's move on and head back to the PowerPoint for a bit because we got more to talk about. Oh, real-time dynamic lighting.
Oh yeah.
Completely unnecessary, but Fred insisted we do it. We're doing this stuff again in the new game too, all the crazy quit animation. It's just so much fun. So yeah, that's, now you can see how we're updating it. We're making it, an old school design with a new school flow and look. But you can't get more faithful than that. Weapon design, we showed you some of that. The Excalibur then and the Excalibur now. The weapons then and the weapons now. Let's talk a bit about the music. Yes, little dude headbanging. Emoticons are fun. Andrew's here, our composer, and it was funny because when I first got involved with this thing, I was like, we have to redo the soundtrack because the original Rot soundtrack is just so iconic and awesome. but I want it to be metal. And I thought nobody would agree with me. I thought, we're working with guys from Denmark, they're gonna want like dubstep and like electronic music, and nobody's gonna want to make this thing metal. As it turns out, Andrew, the guy who was working on Duke Reloaded, who's the music guy for Interceptor, fronts a metal band. Yeah, look at him, yeah, he's a metal guy. And he was like, everybody was immediately on board with redoing the original iconic songs completely metal. So we're gonna play some of the old stuff and new stuff for you side by side now, and then Andrew and Terry are gonna talk about just kind of how they did it.
While he finds the music, let me just quickly brief how I found Andrew.
How does a guy from Denmark find a guy from Dallas who makes metal music?
When I did Duke Reloaded, I wanted the best possible version of Grabag in that game, and I've seen some of Dave's stuff on YouTube, and Dave contacted me, and that was absolutely awesome. I told him, I've seen your stuff on YouTube.
Not Dave, Andrew.
Sorry, Andrew. And
I don't make music.
Yeah, Dave. And Andrew decided to join us, so we gave him a small test task of doing our menu track for Duke Reloaded, and we wanted to implement the Grabag and some new stuff to see, okay, if we give this guy free hands, what can he produce? And that track came out absolutely amazing, and he did all the music for Reloaded, so it was just natural to have him work on this game. As soon as we signed the deal with Apogee, I told Dave, okay, Dave, we're golden. First track going down the fast way, and he just kicks ass. We are about halfway through the track list of the game, and each track just gets better and better and better.
This is the original. You might remember it. Super iconic song.
Do you want me to play it out of the speakers, the new one, so we can hear that?
I think they're coming out. It's good enough. And this is the song we use in the trailer, but we're going to play Andrew's version in a second and see just how we updated it. I love this shit. Lee Jackson is, oh man. Now, the 2012 version, I can listen to that all day. Toward the end, because we're going to make a full album out of this. So these aren't just looping video game songs anymore. They yeah.
Is there a version that comes with the soundtrack?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
the soundtrack will get released.
We're going to release a full soundtrack on Steam alongside the game, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be cheap too.
I got you covered, man.
Yeah. Now here's where it gets a bit different from the original. Still video game music, you can still run, and this is in the game, you're still running around the game playing like this, and it just fits, the look and the feel of the new game so well, and Andrew he's nailing it. But it's not just the tracks like that, even the menu, like when I was just in it. We gotta update this. How do you make this metal?
playing Suck This one.
Yeah, Suck This is another iconic track. They've all got really great ones. This is the song you might remember from E1M1 of Rise of the Triad. Needs more synth. Now Andrew's version. Everything plus double bass is better. And once again, Andrew added some of his own stuff to the end of this.
Picking up penny.
There
you go.
Here it comes.
Dave calls this the picking up penny part of the song.
Picking up change. Here it comes. Picking up change. You metal guys know what's about to happen.
Yeah, this is also a very iconic part of the original.
And it's awesome. And, you know, other songs like Havana Smooth, one, you know, definitely one that you think would be hard to make it metal.
Yeah, I definitely struggled with this one.
Best composer in the world.
You know, and it's also just a cool track. I think this is one of the, the original is so iconic, but I almost like Andrew's stuff better. He's still got the orchestral stuff going, you know, it sounds like the original is just, and just to make it work. Now, so Terry, why don't you talk, Terry's been working with him on this stuff, because Terry's also here in Dallas, well not Dallas, in Texas, and they're close to each other, so it's like having, not only the head of the studio on board, but he's, kind of like a music producer, and they've been going back and forth. So how exactly do you, take these, old iconic, MIDI tracks and, come up with stuff like this?
Well, first of all, with Rise, I initially told him that we should really stay true to the overall theme of the song. I told him that as long as we can stay true to this song in the beginning, he could go off and, do an ad-lib, total ad-lib solo on his own. And he went off and he did a really, really good piece on his own. And I said, as long as you come back to the main theme of the original song, you can keep going back, bouncing back in and backing out, and doing your own individuality of this song. And he actually pulled it off really, really well. And go ahead and skip to his guitar solo right here.
It's just, like Terry said, he keeps the thematics, but it's just completely updated and completely badass.
And so basically, I said, Andrew, just try to stay loyal to the original song, do your own thing, but surprise me. And then he went off and did his own thing, and jump in here anytime there, Andrew.
I went off, kind of did my own thing. I kind of take Terry's advice from one thing to the next. With each song that we do, I'll start with a foreground where I just kind of go, okay, how am I going to do this? I'll literally sit down, listen to a couple records. Generally, it's 9 Inch Nails. I'll go back to some old school Metallica. Just simple CDs that we all own at one time, and especially during this era. And I just get inspirations to where I just go, okay, you know, maybe something like this could fit. And I sit down and I try it out, and I send it to Terry. And most of the time he goes, yeah, I like where you're going with this. Now, let's keep it in the vein of this, and you know, like he was saying, ad-lib some solos on to the next part of this and move here. It's just verse, chorus, lead kind of thing. Just simple song structure, but getting it to certain elements that are more creative than just a regular dynamic band, of course, because this is music for video games.
Right, I think one of the things he was struggling with also with Rise was he was trying to get it to loop, and I said, there's no reason to loop it. There's no reason that says you cannot just end the song here and just have a little break in the music. So he went ahead and put together a really good piece that ends in a really, really somber note, and that really exclamates the point of the game.
Yeah, it's no longer just video game music. I mean, the tracks that are in the game will be cut and looped, but for the full album, you know, it's the full song. So we're making, you know, and Andrew can play all these with his band live, by the way. We wanted, I think that was one of his goals as well, to be able to play every song in the game with his band, Burying the Trend, plug. Right here in Dallas, to be able to, you know, we could do rock live music shows after this, you know, just because, you know, he can play all those instruments and his band can play this stuff. And I think that was a big goal, to create an actual album that also serves as video game music, if I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely.
Go ahead and load up Sectus right quick there, Dave.
Yeah.
This particular song, I wanted him to stay loyal to it, but I also wanted to have him incorporate an element of music that I really, really like, which was a cut down type of slow down track area. And I gave him a few examples of some commercials on YouTube, and I won't name them because they're I don't want to plug anybody else, but he was able to incorporate it in a way that I think is just absolutely fantastic, and it's coming up right here. And for me, it just adds so much to this song overall. I mean, you're breaking it down, and it's like you're slowing it down, and then you're jumping right back into it again. Andrew did a fantastic job on this.
It's got more of the progression that a real song would have, not just video game music, but it still works as video game music. And I didn't think it would. When I first heard stuff like this, I was like, there's no way once we put this, you know, and I'm running around the level and we've got it in the game, it's going to sound like I'm listening to a CD while playing a game. But it works as video game music. It works, you know, just as well as the old ones. It's just badass.
You know, moving forward into this, I'll say really quick, coming into this, I mean, like, this game and whenever we were doing Duke 3D Reloaded, these were titles that I grew up with. So you got to understand, this is surreal for me to be able to sit here, you know, X years later and make music for this, because I'm extremely passionate about that. So this has been like just a dream come true so far. This is awesome. So this isn't just going to be video game music. This is going to be an album that's going to be good. An album you can throw in your car, you can throw in your iPod, whatever you can jam out to. It's going to be good stuff.
What are we calling it? Rock of the Triad?
We'll discuss that.
Rock of
the Triad.
Rock and Hell, that's right, Rock and Hell.
Another thing that, you know, is very unique about this approach is that the way we found Andrew is pretty much the way we found most of our team members. I have a thing myself where I don't think that the talent you would normally hire through the normal means is probably the best talent for a project like this. Pretty much all the guys I have gotten on board and are working with on this project are guys that are extremely talented, but no one has picked them up yet. Maybe they need a small guidance, maybe they haven't just gotten the right opportunity. So all of our team members are pretty much guys that all of our first team members at least, are pretty much guys that came from different communities where I picked them up and I taught them a few things about how we should do this. And then they pretty much help each other out. And you know, if I told a 3D artist, you know, it has to look AAA. I know you're not there yet, but let me get you the tools you need to get there. Let me send you on courses. Let me find a guy that can train you in this specific part. Later on, when we got funded, we hired guys. We have a guy that, you know, previously worked on at Naughty Dog. We have a cinematic director from Guerrilla Games who did cinematics for Killzone series. Yeah. So we brought these professional guys on board later on, but I all trained these guys in picking up new guys that they need to train, because by training these new guys, this doesn't simply become a job of you need to do X task and then you're out of here. This becomes their baby as well, because they grow up with the game. And it makes the game that much more personal, and you can really feel that in the product. You can feel the personality in the project and the love that has been put into it. And that's the exact same thing with Andrew. You know, we're doing this together as almost as a flat organization. We're all a big family here. So. And
this is the first shot for a lot of guys. I mean, this project this is Interceptor's shot. I mean, they've deserved this shot for a while. They almost got it with Duke, and they should have got it. But thanks to Apogee, this is not only the resurgence of Apogee, this is the emergence of Interceptor Entertainment. This is Fred and his team's chance to prove that, yeah, they can ship a AAA title that is don't get teary-eyed on me, that is not only faithful to the original, but completely playable in 2012. So Apogee is back, Interceptor is here, and we're pleased as hell with the reception we're getting so far, and we've got so much more for you guys. But we've got to wrap it up, so we'll do some Q&A if you guys don't mind. We got about 5 minutes. Questions? Anybody? Devin?
Yeah, this is for Andrew.
Besides
Triad and Duke Nukem, have you worked on any other games previously in regards to music, or was that kind of your first?
Not any games, but I've engineered about 15 to 20 artists here locally. I did a lot of mixing, I've done a lot of demos, I've done a lot of full lengths for a lot of artists around here, so I know my way around the DAW system. What we're using right now is pretty much Persona Studio One, and I mean, everything's plain, cut and dry right there. It's all to the point. Yeah, I've got enough experience under my belt to where this won't be a problem at all.
And did you play all the instruments yourself and put it together, or were you working with a band?
I'm sorry?
Did you play all the instruments yourself? When you
Myself. I did have some input from my band, Burying the Trend.
Plug.
We'll be over at Curtain Club on the 10th. Plug. I did have some input from my band on a couple of these, just, hey, you know, I'm struggling here a little bit, give me an idea here. So there's little things here and there, but it was about 99% me.
I think I saw a question back there, yes?
So this is going to be this is going to be retail on Steam with the soundtrack and everything?
Yeah, it's all going to be on retail on Steam. We're launching on Steam. It's also a Steamworks game, don't forget, with Steam Workshop, completely moddable. You'll be able to share mods with everybody, just like Skyrim. We ain't Skyrim, but you can mod it like Skyrim. We encourage that, and we encourage people to get in there and mess around with UDK and Unreal 3, and we're going to be taking you inside over the next couple of months and showing you just how you make a full-blown, fully licensed Unreal 3 game, and we encourage Andrew to just make a full album here and get it on Steam as well. Just like you can buy the albums for games like Binding of Isaac or Super Meat Boy right on Steam, right under the Rise of the Triad album is going to be right there with it. And it's going to be just as affordable as the game. The game's $14.99. The album's going to be affordable too. Because we want to get this stuff out to everybody. We want tons of content for a great price. We think with that kind of a formula, it's hard to lose.
How do you guys handle the production schedule on the game itself? I know you're the remote team. How do you handle the actual scheduling?
It's a Frederik question.
What tools do you guys use to actually share art assets back and forth, and I guess just code everything else?
We got into a few different problems while trying to do this, and we learned a lot of things back in Reloaded days. So when I started off this project, we had researched into many different online project management solutions, and there was simply not a solution that would fit all of our requirements because our team was so unique. So what we did is that we tried to build our own. So we built our own complete system that works with our individual team members, so it's completely customized to our team. The way we usually do is that we of course have an overall plan with milestones and sprints, and every single time we start a sprint, we meet up locally, and then we plan out how to do the sprint and which people are assigned to what. It's not necessarily that a lead 3D art, a lead character artist is doing characters all the way through. We assign these guys into groups, focus groups. For example, we can have 4 guys, and that entire sprint, these 4 guys are only working on gore, for example. when a sprint is done, we meet up locally again, and we crunch away to finish the milestone, and then we take the weekend off, and then the next Monday we start on the next milestone. So that's pretty much how we work. The tools we use is, of course, our own project management system, which is completely online. We use Subversion to do all the source code sharing and versioning, and then we use Skype groups and TeamSpeak to do our podcast and to do our group conversations online.
A lot of Skype calls.
Yeah. A lot.
So you guys actually fly everybody in for those sprint meetings?
We don't fly everybody in. The guys that meet up together at these sprints are the guys that are most important to have here. We won't ask a guy that lives in the Dallas area to fly in every 2 months to Denmark, and that will just be insane in the long run.
Expensive.
When he can do just as a good job at home. But we meet up the guys that are most important for that sprint. So, for example, right before we went to QuakeCon, we met up in Copenhagen, and we had the 3D artist that was supposed to do Dopefish. And
we can't confirm Dopefish with the patent.
There are screenshots out there already of Dopefish. So yeah, the way we did here, and that is actually a great example of how we combine the virtual team with the local team, is that we had the artist set to do work on Dopefish, and we also have Joe Siegler on the team, which has been freelance guy since '92. He was the original level designer also on the expansion pack for the original Rod. We had him watch a screen share from the start to the finished product of Dopefish. And while this guy was doing the Dopefish, he wasn't directed by Joe. But Joe was there. Joe was participating by giving him a lot of backstory and a lot of trivia about this character to get our artists into the mindset of him. So that's a great way of having a guy that sits in Dallas and one that sits in Denmark, and they work together on this character.
Dopefish is a registered trademark, it's software, and we will neither confirm nor deny his existence in Rise of the Triad as well.
And why isn't Joe designing levels?
Joe, that's a pretty simple question. Joe is a super great guy. We have him on board primarily as advisor. So that's his primary role. We really enjoy having him on board. He helps out a lot with a lot of cool stuff and a lot of trivia, because even though we were young when the original Rise of Triad came out, there are so many things we didn't know about it that no one really knows. Yeah. That only he can tell us. The stories about...
He's a rot-cyclopedia.
Exactly. The stories about what the team did and where they were when they came up with the different ideas. That is stuff we can use to get into the same mindset as these guys. The same with Terry. All the stories Terry tells us, the stuff he gives us. Terry gave me a boxed copy of Rod 1 on floppy disk, completely sealed and in mint condition. That's just how awesome these guys are to work with.
We get all the Duke Nukem 3D mouse pads we want working in Apogee. What's up?
So that's just how insanely awesome it is to work with these guys. It feels like, even though we are a separate company, we're Interceptor, it feels like we are the new reincarnation of what Apogee was in the old days. Even though it's two separate entities, Apogee publishing, us developing, we are so closely together. Tara and I, we talk almost for hours every day. We have done so the past year.
The generational gap that has been bridged here is just crazy. These guys that developed these original games in the 90s, and a company that was only founded in 2010 are now making a video game together. They're working on the same IP, and I think it's because the people who love these games so much are finally coming of age. It's like, holy shit, I'm old enough to make video games now. But the guys, the IPs I want who made those games, they're still making games? You mean I can make games with them now? And here we are, and it's just, I don't think it's really sunk in for any of us yet that we're rebooting Rise of the Triad with Apogee and 3D Realms guys on board. It's kind of surreal. And we're here at QuakeCon showing it off, playing it in front of you guys. It's just, I don't think a lot of us ever thought we'd get the chance to do this, and we're just so freaking thrilled about it. Never. Any other questions? Yeah.
What sort of release date are you guys looking at the moment?
We're not really talking release now because we don't want to put a date on it and then send out a ye old, we're pushing it back press release, I don't know, every game in 2012 that's now coming out in 2013, We don't want to do that. We're thinking either late this year or early next year at the latest, but we're not going to put a date on it yet.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah. But not, not 2014, 2015, definitely, the latest, early 2013. Any other question? All right, guys. Well, thanks so much for coming out to the Return of the Triad panel here at QuakeCon 2012. The game is still playable on the floor. We've got 6-player free-for-all going on. The Excalibur is in the game. The Flame Wall's in the game. Dopefish may or may not be in that map. Gotta look carefully. But, thanks for coming out. It's been, great. Thank you so much for the response. We're so happy to be here. And we've got so much more. Be sure, at Rise of the Triad on Twitter, Rise of the Triad on Facebook. RiseOfTheTriad.net is going back up as we speak. We got hit by massive traffic and the site's been down. We didn't expect this reaction. And we'll see you all soon. Enjoy QuakeCon.
Thanks a lot, guys, for.
Thank you.